with George Wylie, Jerilyn Donovan, Mark Mathew, and Larry Cosgrove.
Good evening. Colleen Shearer may still have a place in Governor Branstad's administration. Shearer was fired as Director of Job Service last Friday. At that time, the governor's staff indicated Shearer had refused a job as the director of Iowa Refugee Center, a position she already held along with the job service post. But as Marcia Cady reports tonight, Colleen Shearer and the governor's staff are continuing to negotiate a possible position at the Refugee Center.
Colleen Shearer is still puzzled by the governor's firing of her last week. The move came after a 2-month investigation of management at Job Service and how the agency spent some of its funds. As she wandered around the Iowa Refugee Center today, Shearer talked about how many changes could be made at the center. She confirmed that negotiations between herself and the governor's staff are still going on over a possible position at the center. She has been the director along with her job service duties. Shearer says she doesn't understand how she can qualify for the new position if she was incompetent in the other.
I can't put the two together, that I'm apparently not doing a good job in one location of town, but I am in another location of town.
Shearer says she didn't take the offer of a full-time directorship at the center last week because the job description had to be changed. There wasn't enough full-time work to do. A governor's aide, David Oman, said today negotiations over the Refugee Center directorship will continue tomorrow. Meanwhile, Shearer is sorting out the events of last week, still not believing the investigation gave a reason for firing her.
I can't help but be uneasy about some conclusions reached by some of Governor Branstad's staff. It doesn't lessen my respect for him as an individual and as the head of our government.
Marcia Cady, 5 TV News.
The first armed robbery in Des Moines of 1984 happened this morning. About 9:15, a man forced his way into Church's Fried Chicken at 19th and University. Police say the bandit had a .22 caliber pistol. He forced a male employee to open the safe in the back room, and then the robber locked 2 employees in that room and fled. The employees were locked in the room for about 15 minutes, then managed to get out and call authorities. The bandit was described as a black male about 6 feet tall, wearing a brown stocking cap and a maroon vinyl coat. No arrests have been made tonight.
3 people suffered minor injuries in a fire that destroyed an apartment in the southwestern Iowa city of Red Oak last night. Injured were Jim Albright and Roger Douglas, both 39 years old, and 49-year-old Elizabeth Douglas. None was seriously hurt. The cause of that fire has not been discovered yet, and there was extensive fire and smoke damage to that building. A strict crackdown in traffic law enforcement is being credited with keeping Poweshiek County free of fatal traffic accidents during 1983. Sheriff Max Allen says the last reported death in the county was in December of 1982. It is the second time in recent history that Poweshiek County has been accident-free for 1 year, and 505 people did die on Iowa highways during 1983.
The body of Monsignor Luigi Ligutti, the world-renowned Catholic priest known as Iowa's champion of the poor, lies in state today at St. Ambrose Cathedral in Des Moines. About 75 people gathered for a mid-afternoon wake to honor the man whose work had a major impact on the lives of many rural Iowans. Scherf has that report.
It was a ceremony befitting the man, simple yet elegant. Steeped in the Catholic tradition he spread to so many others. In a way, it was another gift from Ligutti to those who admired him, a chance for friends and relatives to gather and reflect on the accomplishments of a man who devoted his life to improving the lot of others. Ligutti rose to international fame with the success of the Granger Homestead Project, a plan which enabled early Iowa miners to become landowners. And though he walked among the Vatican's elite as a papal advisor on food and agriculture, it's said he never lost the personal touch with people. Funeral services for Monsignor Ligutti will be held tonight at 7 o'clock at St. Ambrose Cathedral. Scherf, 5 TV News.
How long has it been since you enjoyed a good night's sleep? Wouldn't a new way of sleeping be worth a try? Flotation sleep products will never be more affordable than right now. January is inventory reduction time at Waterbed Boutique. We've got discontinued merchandise, one-of-a-kind items, and savings on waterbeds and accessories that will make your dream of owning a waterbed come true. What a savings. It's time to change the way you sleep. Waterbed Boutique.
On the next Three's Company.
I want you to know how much this teaching job means to me, so if you have any worries about your niece, please put them to rest.
Oh, good, Trevor. But you step out of line, and I'll put you to rest.
No, I'll be careful. No problem.
Three's Company, weeknights at 6:30 here on 5TV.
This winter's bitter cold weather has been hard on people, but harder more on livestock throughout the Midwest. Cattle, for example, have been using up so much of their own energy trying to keep warm that they haven't been able to put on weight for the marketplace. More from Gigi Lyons.
40 to 80 pounds doesn't sound like much when you're looking at an animal that weighs 975 pounds on the average. But when heifers go on a diet like that, ranchers lose about $30 to $60 a head. This feedlot near Potwin, Kansas, shipped out about 550 underweight animals. They lost almost $20,000 and blame it all on the cold weather.
Hey, that's it, Tim.
Owner Lyle Gray's been in the business for 15 years, and he says he's never seen a cold spell like this.
We haven't had this length of cold weather consistently. Normally we'll get some zero weather, but it's usually later in the year, and usually it's just a day or two at a time with moderation of weather, which doesn't affect the cattle nearly as much as it has this time.
Gray is the middleman for ranchers in a 4-state area. It's his job to fatten the livestock before they're sold. He feeds them a combination of corn, milo, wheat, and silage, and they usually gain about 3 pounds a day. But in the last 2 weeks, it's been all he could do to maintain their weight.
Temperature is the basic thing. It takes about so much feed to maintain the body weight of the cattle, and when it gets any place under 30 degrees, and especially when it gets down and below zero, it's probably taking all the feed that they're eating to maintain their body weight.
With things warming up, the next load of cattle to be shipped out of this lot might be a little heavier. But 2 weeks of prime feeding time have been lost, and ranchers are paying the price for Mother Nature's icy mood. Gigi Lyons for ABC News near Potwin, Kansas.
Des Moines residents are reminded tonight that they could get ticketed if they leave their cars in the downtown loop area. City crews need to get onto the streets to get this weekend's surprise snowfall cleared out of the way. Police say they've had problems with people leaving cars parked downtown overnight. Des Moines laws don't allow parking on city streets when the city snow ordinance is in effect. Cars left parked tonight will either be ticketed or towed away.
Larry's here now to tell us all about the weather, and it certainly did warm up over the weekend.
That's right. George Wylie is our good luck charm, it seems. Sunny and warmer is a word. We'll tell you more. Stay with us.
A voyage along the highways of history with Car Trek. Modern car makers use robots in assembling cars. The machines do the work uniformly and cheaply. But when did the auto assembly line originate, and who started it? Answers after this.
Your car will be right down, sir. Uh-oh. Better get Mako.
From crashes, dents, and rust to a great paint job, Mako brings your car back to life, all for a price lower than you'd expect. And accident claims? It's all part of the job at Mako. So when you have an uh-oh,
better get Mako.
The first auto assembly line was put into operation by Ransom Olds in 1901, but it took the genius of Henry Ford to perfect it, cutting production time and reducing prices to under $300, finally putting a car within the reach of almost every American.
TV's more complicated. Local, network, cable, pay. To watch the best that's on, pick up the best. This week's TV Guide. TV Guide helps you decide.
In the past few years, the American Legion has given thousands of kids a chance they might otherwise not have had. Through American Legion Baseball, Boys Nation, and the Special Olympics. Now, the American Legion would like to give you a chance to help. So when we contact you about joining us, we hope you'll remember the work we do. If you're not doing something to help, don't tell us. Tell him.
There's a whole lot of melting going on today. We have some warmer air in the way, and that warm air, when it hits the snow, you know what it causes? Slush, lots of it. You're driving into it, puddles everywhere, but fear not, there's going to be some warmer news tomorrow. Maybe we'll get rid of some snow, and here's why. Across the area today, we had a warming trend of sorts. It took its good old time. You can see temperatures 31 degrees at Lamoni, 30 out Council Bluffs, 28 Sioux City. Even warmer tomorrow. The winds change around to southwest. We'll have high temperatures tomorrow in the 30s and 40s, around 40 or 42 for the high in Des Moines, as near as Nebraska, upper 50s for highs. Now, the reasons for that warm air are thus. In satellite, a wide patch of clear sky, that's high pressure, that means a lot of sunlight. And that storm up in Canada there drags up a very strong southwest wind tomorrow. That should warm things up. You see, out to our west, it got pretty warm. Highs in the 30s and 40s in the western plain states today. The reason for that is we have a westerly wind flow in the upper atmosphere like this, dragging it out, and as that happens, the temperatures in the 30s and 40s will move into Iowa very shortly. Here's what the high temperature scheme was. 40 at Moorhead, Minnesota, 41 Billings, Montana, 39 degrees at Oklahoma City, so you see it is warmer out there. That's coming for tomorrow. Other reasons why it will be warmer out west, we have the strong southwest wind in the upper atmosphere around that big storm in the Gulf of Alaska. That should keep us warm at least into next Saturday. Now, one bad thing is that snow cover. It is all across the country now. If we got rid of that, we'd be a good 10 degrees warmer, but it probably won't disappear till the weekend. In the meantime, enjoy clear skies across the area, 22 degrees in Ames and 26 in Des Moines, 71% relative humidity. Barometer 30.42 on the way down, west wind at around 6 miles per hour. The high temperature was 26, morning low at 14. Normals are 27 and 12. Well, the temperatures now are not cooling down all that much. You can see 28 degrees up in Sibley. Compare that with 26 Des Moines, 29 Lamoni. There is a very cold 19, though, with a cloudy sky now at Cedar Rapids. Fog moving on out and a clear sky tonight. Our sunrise tomorrow morning at 7:41 and setting at 4:57 p.m. And our forecast clear and breezy later on, 10 to about 20 for the overnight low. For tomorrow, sunshine returns, windy and a lot milder, 35 to 45. Metro forecast, clear and turning breezy down to 19 tonight. Then for tomorrow, sunshine, windy and milder, 42. Tomorrow night, clear, turning a bit cooler down to 12. Our extended outlook calls for a nice weather pattern right through Friday. No snow, sunny skies, back up to around 40 by Friday. So it is milder, the snow's going bye-bye, and lots of clear sky.
I like those highs, Larry. They look great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Larry, you probably agree that 1983 could be best described as a year of weather extremes, from drought to drench, from hot to cold. Beverly Fisher takes a look at 1983, the not-so-average year.
January 1983, Iowa was experiencing a mild winter, the second mildest in 50 years. By December, the state was going through record cold and snow, and so the year went from one extreme to the other.
It was a year with almost a record number of records. We went from one extreme to the other throughout the whole year, from warmth to cold and then back to the hottest summer since 1936.
After the mild winter, the state began a cold, wet, muddy spring. It was the coldest planting season since 1907, and the Livestock Reporting Service reported 2 to 3 times more cattle lost last spring because of cold, muddy conditions. April 1983 was the 4th coldest and snowiest on record. Warm weather was arriving a little late. By June, the northwestern part of the state was in its wettest spring in 92 years. The southeast was starting the first touches of the drought. Summer was brutal, dry, and hot. Folks around that long compared it with the summer of '36.
We moved from there into a summer that was the hottest since 1936 and the driest in the southeast since 1936 as well. We had serious drought throughout most of July and most of August.
In the 7-week span between July 4th and August 21st, the southeastern third of the state got between 1/2 and 1 inch of rain. Crops were withering in the fields across most of the state. Iowa went through 50 days above normal summer temperatures, with the 100-degree mark broken numerous times. Fall was rainy, 65% more rain than usual, but by November fall was over, snow and cold had begun, and in December it got even worse. Last month was the coldest December on record, beating out the one set in 1876. In December of 1876, the average temperature was 11.9 degrees. Last month's average temperature was just over 7.5 degrees. Overall, 1983 was a not-too-average year. The average temperature came out exactly on target at 48.3 degrees. Beverly Fisher, 5 TV News.
And a few more weather facts for you. Last year we had 22.5 inches more snow than we normally get, but only 4.5 inches more rain than usual.
Some Cedar Rapids business leaders are upset over all the talk about a World Agriculture Trade Center for Des Moines. They believe it should be located in Cedar Rapids, if anywhere. Now, Des Moines businessman John Ruan has gained the support of Governor Branstad for building that center in Des Moines at a cost of an estimated $25 million. The Cedar Rapids businessmen say more goods per capita are exported from the Cedar Rapids area than any city in the nation, and they say Ruan has refused to provide details of what he has in mind.
If your kitchen cabinets have seen better days, or your bathroom sink is all wet, then it's time to check Payless Cashway's Building Materials Tabloid this week. It's full of special savings on hundreds of things to make your home new and improved for less. For all your repair or remodeling projects, from ceiling fans and quality paneling to wallpaper and floor coverings. Don't miss the savings in Payless Cashway's Building Materials Tabloid this week.
Don't do it yourself without us.
Payless Cashways.
Didn't make it to the gigantic furniture and carpet sale? Well, Homemakers Plaza will be extending the sale through the next couple of days. At Iowa's largest furniture and carpet store, brand names of Lazy Boy, Bassett, Broyhill going for 40 to 50% off. Sealy Posturepedic mattress and box spring, full size set $199.95, queen size set $249.95. Mohawk and Philadelphia carpet up to 1/2 off. Hundreds of rolls to choose from. Of course, we deliver and have 90 days no interest. Homemakers Plaza, 1 mile south of Adventureland on Hubble. Open Monday at 10 a.m.
The 1984 legislative session begins next week, and Iowa lawmakers are facing some tough decisions this year. The major priority is how to cut spending. The governor needs to cut about $100 million from his budget. Now, Senate Majority Leader Lowell Junkin says Democrats cooperated fully with Branstad last year, but the cooperation may be less this year.
The governor did hurt himself. He strained the relationship with the Democratic majority. In fact, I think with the legislature, with some of his item vetoes at the end of the session or after last year's session, specifically the veto on the lottery bill, the veto of the Democratic portion of the jobs package. Those vetoes strained the relationship. So you're not going to see quite the same relationship going into this session that you did a year ago.
The governor has said he wants to raise liquor and gas taxes to help with the budget problems. Junkin says he sees only part of that proposal passing.
Support as regards the gas tax increase is going to be dependent upon what's going to be done with the money that's being raised. There are some legislators who are willing to raise gas taxes to improve the roads in this state, but if the governor is going to raise gas taxes and then whether he or the legislature begins to borrow from the road use tax fund, that will create some problems.
The legislature opens January 9th.
Legislators will need all that time to rest up from all the football games over this weekend, Dave.
I'm tired, and it's only halfway through. A very sad day for Texas Longhorn fans. There will be no national championship for them. We'll have the story next on Sports. Stay with us.
At the stroke of midnight on January 1st, the new year was born, and so was the new Northwestern Bell. We're the same company in all the right ways, and we have nearly 20,000 employees already to go on serving you. At the same time, we're looking forward to the new opportunities we now have to meet all your telecommunications needs. The new Northwestern Bell. We're making our New Year's evolution to serve you better than ever before.
To test how much softer new improved Northern is, we padded one of these twins with regular Northern and the other with new improved Northern. New Northern bathroom tissue is so much fluffier and deeper quilted, you can actually see the extra softness. But mostly, you can feel it. Now, which twin has the new softer Northern? Try new improved Northern, the softest Northern ever.
The eyes of Texas were upon the Cotton Bowl this afternoon. What they witnessed was Georgia coming from behind to upset unbeaten Texas. The Longhorns had things going pretty much their way in the first quarter. Rick McIver connected with Bobby Mitchell deep in Georgia territory, but the drive stalled and Texas settled for a Jeff Ward field goal. The Longhorns led 3-0. The Bulldogs came back to tie the game at 3. A 30-yard punt return by Gary Moss was the play that set it up. Although Texas dominated the second quarter, they failed to put any more points on the board. After intermission, Ward booted his second three-pointer. Texas went on top 6-3. The Longhorns got a big break when Georgia coughed up the football in the third quarter. But again, Texas could do no better than a field goal. However, the biggest break came late in the final quarter. Craig Curry fumbled a Georgia punt away with time running out. Then, on a big third down play, quarterback John Lastinger ran it in from 17 yards out. Georgia won it 10-9. Ohio State rallied to beat Pitt in the Fiesta Bowl. Here's a report.
A furious fourth quarter began with Pitt's Joe McCall carrying from the 13, fumbling at the 2, and Clint Wilson recovering in the end zone to tie the game at 14. But the Buckeyes' Keith Beyer took the following kickoff on his own 1-yard line, smashed through a crowd of blockers and would-be tacklers, and ran for 99 yards to put Ohio State back on top, 21-14. Beyer's run was 1 yard short of the Fiesta Bowl record. The Panthers came back with this pass from John Conjemi to Dwight Collins for 11 yards and a touchdown. A 2-point conversion failed. It was 21-20. With 2:39 left, Snuffy Everett put Pitt on top with a 37-yard field goal, but his happiness was short-lived. Ohio State's Mike Tomczak passed to Thad Jemison in the end zone with just 39 seconds left in the game to give the Buckeyes the lead once more. They held on to beat Pitt 28-23. This is Bud Fotopoulos reporting.
Illinois is appearing in its first Rose Bowl in 20 years this afternoon. A big surprise. UCLA only 6-4-1 on the regular season, leading Illinois 14-3 that game in the second quarter. Well, tonight is the night for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. A victory in the Orange Bowl over Miami would certainly seal a national title. The Cornhuskers are being called the greatest offensive team of all time. Mike Rozier will be out to prove he truly deserved the Heisman Trophy, as if there was any doubt. Rozier was the nation's leading rusher. Turner Gill is the pilot of Nebraska's high-flying offense. The Huskers averaged over 52 points a game. They have a 22-game winning streak riding on tonight's ball game. Miami has won 10 straight after losing opening day. The Hurricanes have a rookie quarterback, but he's a good one. Freshman Bernie Kosar completed 61% of his passes this season. Nebraska is a heavy favorite. With the loss by Texas, Auburn could conceivably have a shot at the national title if Nebraska loses. But Auburn has to beat Bo Schembechler's Michigan team. The Wolverines haven't been successful in postseason play. Bo's boys have won just 2 of 10 bowl appearances. You can watch tonight's Sugar Bowl game right here on 5 TV beginning at 7 o'clock. The NFL found its Final Four this weekend. In the NFC, San Francisco will meet the Redskins in Washington for a ticket to Super Bowl 18. The Redskins were simply awesome in their win over the Rams yesterday. Joe Theismann threw for over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Fun Bunch celebrated 6 times, there it is, in the end zone. San Francisco advanced to the NFC title game with a 1-point win over Detroit on Saturday. In the AFC, the Raiders were easy winners over Pittsburgh. LA collapsed the steel curtain to move on to the conference championships. Marcus Allen was the Raiders' Mr. Everything. He picked up 160 yards in total offense with 2 touchdowns. Get this, Allen averaged over 9 yards per carry rushing. The Raiders will host one of the wild card teams. Seattle was an upset winner over Miami. Now, don't think it'll be a mismatch in Los Angeles' favor, though. The Seahawks beat the Raiders twice during the regular season. The Drake basketball season is starting to shape up or fall apart like the football teams. Last night, the Bulldogs were beaten by St. Louis 71-61. It was their 5th straight loss. Drake opens the conference season Thursday night at Betts Auditorium. Tulsa is the opponent. Floyd of Rosedale isn't at stake tonight, but a lot of pride is. Iowa State battles Minnesota up in Minneapolis. The Cyclones upset the ranked Gophers a year ago. Iowa State rallied from an 11-point deficit at halftime. Then senior Randy Brewer scored 28 points and pulled down 11 rebounds. But the Cyclones used some red-hot shooting to get back in it. Barry Stevens popped for a game-high 30 points. But the contest rested on the shoulders of reserve Tom Peterson. He coolly iced 2 free throws to send the game into overtime. Then in OT, Iowa State scored the first 4 points and went on to a big upset. Mark Mathew talked with Coach Johnny Orr about tonight's rematch.
Your old buddy Jim Dutcher probably has a score to settle, right?
Oh, I'm sure of that. Used to work for me, you know, and
yeah.
Anytime we play each other, that's a real grudge battle. Both respect one another, I think, but when you get out there and play those games, boy, you don't win those games.
What kind of game are you looking for Monday night against Minnesota? They got tall players.
Oh, I look for them to butcher us on the boards. We got to steal the ball a lot and cause a lot of turnovers, or we're in real trouble.
So a big game for college football tonight. Right here, Auburn has a chance at the national title if they win and Nebraska gets beat.
It must be an exhausting day for you people in the sports department to keep track of all these games going on all over the place.
I'm taking laps around the station trying to keep up track.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dave. Besides football, what would the new year be without parades? And today in Pasadena, California, the new year was ushered in, as it has been for the past 95 years, with the Rose Parade. About 600,000 spectators lined the streets. The Marine Corps Band led the way under warm and sunny skies. But it wasn't without problems. Police arrested more than 200 people, mostly for drunkenness, and there was a reported bomb threat. We want to take a minute now to remind you to give us a call when you see news happening. Just call our 5TV news line. In Des Moines, that number is 280-9740, and in Ames, just call 294-4333. We're always glad to hear from you.
I like it. I love it. Tastes so good. Trident sugarless gum is long-lasting. It's a full flavor. It's real fresh. Taste the one. It tastes good. I don't have to give anything up. Taste the one that'll win you over to sugarless gum.
4 out of 5 dentists surveyed recommend sugarless gum for their patients who chew gum.
Trident sugarless gum won't hurt my teeth, and it tastes good.
Taste the one that'll win you over to sugarless gum.
On the next Hawaii 5-0.
Javanko is going to try it again, you know.
But it'll have to wait till you're out of here.
Got some security going, have you?
A germ couldn't get in here.
He's pretty good at finding the soft spots down.
Next, blood money. Be here. Aloha.
Hawaii 5-0, weeknights at 10:30 here on 5TV.
Most experts agree that the contemporary music industry owes quite a lot to the music video, those mini-movies of singers performing their latest hits. They've allowed new groups to reach out and grab an audience while increasing the audience for already established artists. But behind the product are a lot of people and a lot of hard work, as Doug Johnson reports.
MTV, 24 hours a day of music videos played on cable. When it first started, we said who would watch. Well, it turns out a lot of people. The music video was something of an oddity a few years ago. Now many believe it is a mainstay of record sales. Superstars like Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney have made the music video into an industry. This is Lamouche, a discotheque on 11th Avenue, but today it's something of a movie set because they are shooting a music video. Evelyn Champagne King shooting a video for a song from her new album. 2 days of shooting, a full crew of technicians and actors, a $30,000 budget, low compared to the hundreds of thousands spent by the superstars. How does one approach making a music video?
Pick the lyrics first and listen to that with a record, with a stopwatch in hand, and I time it out. I get a feeling for what the musical breaks are, the musical intro, the time for the different lyrics. And from that, you know how much time you have to develop action that relates to it.
As for the artist, what does it mean to her?
I like playing all the roles. You know, I like to sing, dance, and act. I want to be an actress so bad. I really do.
So you enjoy doing these?
Yes. It's a lot of fun.
Doug Johnson, ABC News, New York.
Do you watch the music on...
I watch it all the time. Even if at my ripe old age, I still enjoy a good music television.
So you're a kid at heart, Jerilyn.
I guess so.
A kid at heart.
All right. Thanks a lot, George. Hope you join us tonight after the Sugar Bowl. We'll be updating several of today's top stories. We'll take you to a special memorial service for Monsignor Luigi Ligutti, whose body was flown back from Rome today. And Democratic presidential hopeful Jesse Jackson has met with the president of Syria. He says it looks good for the release of U.S. flyer Robert Goodman. All that coming up tonight after the Sugar Bowl. Right now at 5:30, it is 26 degrees. Time to join ABC.
January.